Do you all believe in God moments? Those moments when something happens and you just feel a presence, a purpose to the moment. Paul, the first century church builder, most certainly believed in them. Believed the stories, and in the stories, the Acts stories and Paul's letters to the early churches definitely gave witness to many of those types of moments. How the disciples were experiencing God working in their lives as they followed Jesus' instructions, as they built the beloved community that he talked about. And the Paul stories specifically talk about Paul inviting new people into early churches, starting churches in new places. In our story today, Paul and his fellow travelers were confused about where to go next on their journey. And lo and behold, Paul has a vision. He has a vision of a man saying, "Please come to Macedonia and help us." So they went to Philippi, as the scripture said, a favored city of the Roman Empire. That means they had special tax exemptions. That's what favored city in the Roman Empire meant. They had a favored status. So they went to Philippi, So that, and what's interesting about Philippi is that many retired soldiers were given land in and around Philippi. You know, you don't want too many retired soldiers hanging out in the center of power, Rome, right? So they would give them land across the territories, different places. And Philippi was a very familiar place. So just outside the gates of Philippi, Paul meets Lydia. And Lydia has become a wonderful phenomenon in our tradition. From this short story about a strong woman who traded in purple. How fascinating, traded in purple. A whole following has developed. The Catholic, Orthodox, Episcopal, and Lutheran churches all celebrate a Feast of Lydia on their church calendars. And there are Lydia houses throughout the world, all different types of nonprofits who have taken on her name, taken on her tradition of hospitality and open heart. Houses for domestic violence victims, houses of recovery, group homes, so many others around the world. All using the name of this woman who sat by the river and listened to Paul. Our scriptures say that Lydia was a worshiper of God. And in the context of this story and the author who wrote it, that would mean that she was Jewish. Definitely a minority in Philippi. That explains why she was worshiping outside of the city, at a river. It was actually a common practice for small Jewish communities that didn't have a synagogue to go and worship by the river. So here she is praying in a small group when Paul and Silas and Timothy approach. She welcomes them, she listens to them, and she decides to join them. They baptize her and all of her household. Powerful woman. She insists, the language is actually insists. She insists that they stay in her house. And that is our tradition, how the first European was baptized. which is interesting. And we all have a tradition of saying that she led a large church community. So when Paul writes to the Philippians, they very well could have been writing to Lydia's house. I kept thinking, I wonder what Lydia was looking for that morning by the river. And I wonder what Paul said to her that piqued her interest. We often simplify these baptism stories. We often say, well, their heart was converted. They accepted the message of the resurrected Jesus, and bang, there's another Christian. Right? Again. As we all sit here in church this morning, it isn't that simple, is it? As people of faith, as worshipers of God, as members of this community, we all come here with different visions of God. We all come here with different needs in this community. God is a concept that is not just placed in front of you, black or white, yes or no. The facts is the facts, ma'am. God is an experience for each of us, and a collective concept that we ponder together. Theology, the study of God, is really a study of the eternal questions of humanity. God is not one thing. Now, for my God moment this week. As I wondered about Lydia and what she was looking for at that river and what she was praying about and what God might have said to her that just triggered her wanting to hear more, her wanting to join this community, the word peace kept coming to mind. Maybe because Memorial Day is coming, and that commemoration of those lost in war always points me to the hope of peace. And it seems outside a busy Roman city, a city probably hostile to Lydia, she may have sat by that river, maybe looking for God's peace. And perhaps she heard something from Paul that provided her with that peace. As I pondered, I was staring at an image on my desktop, and it's the image that is on your bulletin. I left my bulletin up there, but if you look at your bulletin on the front, there's a beautiful blue piece of art right at the top, right where our logo is and all that. So this is a piece of art that is part of a project called the 99 Names Project. The project is a collection of glass art pieces, each representing one of the 99 names of God. The 99 names of God is a tradition in Islam. It is a fundamental tradition in Islam. The names are all found in the scriptures and are studied, so one will always remember that God is beyond understanding and multifaceted in the ways that God has revealed God's self to us. Muslim children often memorize and study the 99 names of God. So Andrew Kosarak, who is a glass artist and a Christian minister, dove into this project as an interfaith endeavor to learn more about the Islam faith, and to join in the study of God being revealed through many names. I had been introduced to this project years ago, and that's why that image has been on my laptop for all those years. It's when I start up my computer, Every morning it's the first thing I see. What I had not remembered was actually the name that it represented. This particular piece represents the name Wellspring of Peace. As-Salam. It is an etched, painted, and fired glass with alchemically preserved water. There's water inside that thing. It's pretty cool. I don't know, maybe that just means H2O, I don't know. The living, and this is the description of it, the living water is the giver of life in the desert of the soul. When the soul opens it, welcomes it, and gives it a place to dwell, an interesting truth is revealed. Earthly wells and springs may eventually dry up, and personal energy may drain away. But when peace comes from the source of peace, its influence is increased as it is shared, following no earthly laws. Come on, that's a God moment. I was considering Lydia searching for peace by the river, and then my eyes were open to God's name, As-Salam, right in front of me, hidden, right? And the representation is actually living water. The river, everything else, it all tied together for me. Our message today is peace. And I invite you this week to consider a few questions from our story. Even if you want to look through your bulletin today, there are many names of God. Our different hymns, our different prayers. How has God revealed God's self to you? What is your experience of that which is beyond us? One of the other names is comprehender. I know English. God revealed as knowing something in each of us worthy of God's love and attention, and trusting that our job as mortals is to respect that worth in ourselves and search for that worth in everyone we meet. Comprehender. The 99 Names Project is a wonderful opportunity to consider God revealed in our lives. How do you experience God revealed in your life? What do you think your neighbors experience? What are you looking for in God? What do you think your neighbors look for in God? I have my laptop set up in the gathering room, so during fellowship we can take a look at some of the other pieces of art and the other names. Second thing to consider, using this idea that God's revelation is in many forms, how do others experience God through you? Does God use you as a wellspring of peace? Some other revelations: compassionate, forgiving, opener, reliever, sustainer. And lastly, we expand that question to how do others experience God through this community? How do we, UCC Boxborough, give witness to God out in the community? How are we part of God's revelation in this world? The art is beautiful, painstakingly created, and so very respectful of the Islamic tradition. Can our lives be like this art? Beautiful, painstakingly created, and respectful of everyone's experience of God. Let it be so. Let us stand in spirit or in body and join together in hymn 591. This is my song.